Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Office Hours. I'm Jeff Blankenberg. I have a couple of awesome guests here with me today, and I will introduce them in just a second. But as we like to do at the beginning of every episode, I like to keep you up to date with the latest and greatest, what happens to be going on in the world. And so there's a couple of things that I want to share with you. The first one, if you guys aren't aware, we're currently working on a sentiment survey. And so for those of you that haven't had an opportunity to fill that out, you can actually find it at alexa.design/2022 survey. We're trying to have your voice get heard. We want to get feedback about what's going on, what you think, what you like, what you need. And so it's a 15-minute survey. It's not just a couple of questions, but we really appreciate any kind of feedback and information that you can share with us. So if you get an opportunity, please take a moment and fill out that survey. The second thing, if you guys have been following this Artemis journey that we've been on, trying to get Alexa into space, it is scheduled to launch tomorrow, November 16th. Now, does that mean it will launch tomorrow, as we've learned over the last couple of months? Not necessarily, but I think the plan is, and everything looks optimistic for a launch tomorrow. Finally, if you guys have all been following Office Hours for a while, one of our regulars here, his name is William Wrongholt. He goes by W. Giorgio. W. Giorgio is actually going to be our guest next week. We're going to be talking to him about some of the cool skills he's building, some of the fun stuff he's doing with APL, and a bunch of other things. So I just want to make sure you guys are up to date on all of that. And with that, now I want to take a minute and introduce the fine folks I have here on the screen with me. So I have Paul Stubbs and Hyla. I want to make sure that both of you get an opportunity to introduce yourselves. So Hyla, let's start with you.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. I'm Hyla Barbo. I'm a senior product manager at Amazon Future Engineer. Amazon Future Engineer is Amazon's global STEM education organization dedicated to broadening access to computer science education. So honored to be here today.
And Paul.
Hi, everyone. I'm Paul Stubbs. I'm a principal technical evangelist for Alexa. I work alongside Jeff and Hyla to promote Alexa and Alexa skills to future engineers.
Thank you. And so Paul's actually on my team. Paul and I work together pretty closely, and I was really glad that we could get him on here today. In addition to Hyla, who I feel like now we're old friends.
Me too.
I had the good fortune as we get into all of this hour of AI stuff. I had the good fortune of being a part of that and having a small role in the bigger picture of all of the things that you put together, which I'm sure we're going to spend plenty of time talking about. So for those that haven't followed along or may not know what's happening with the Future Engineers or this Hour of AI program, Hyla, can you kind of give us a rundown on what the Hour of AI is?
Yes, definitely. And I can actually drop in a website right now too. So as many of you may be familiar with the Hour of Code. Hour of Code was a global initiative started by code.org in 2013 to inspire students to just drop everything for an hour and try learning computer science. And this Hour of Code happens every year during Computer Science Education Week, which takes place December, usually like the second week of December. So for us at Amazon Future Engineer, we wanted to take a spin on that and challenge teachers to try something new. Try bringing an hour of AI education to your class. And with that, we wanted to focus in on voice AI, as so many students email us all the time wondering, how can I learn to code my own Alexa skills? So we've partnered with the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, along with 3 other education nonprofits, to build a learning experience that allows students to learn to code their own Alexa skills within the MIT App Inventor platform. So there's no Amazon login, no Amazon device needed to actually learn the basics of voice AI. So in 1 hour, students get to learn the basics of how Alexa works: utterance, intent, wake word, and then they code 2 of their own Alexa skills. They code Alexa to say hello moon in honor of the Artemis launch. And then they actually code a Alexa space fact generator. Some students like to code a personal fact generator, I've seen. But it's a fact generator nonetheless. So it's open to all teachers across the US. And we're already getting amazing results and registrations from teachers. So please check it out. Spread the word. It's our goal to inspire more students to get interested in the world of artificial intelligence, and one day join us here or join any profession in computer science and AI.
Awesome. Now, I have a follow-up question to that, because you mentioned teachers. teachers. So this is
Yes.
primarily a teacher-driven program, right? This is a place where teachers can then adopt the content. I'm assuming they can find all of that information on the link that we shared?
Exactly. Yes. This is mainly for teachers. However, parents have also been reaching out. Parents can also register to try this at home with their students. Both are available.
Cool. I think that's a question that we would get from a lot of our developers is, well,
Yeah,
I'm not a
makes
teacher,
sense.
but like I interact with kids or I run a robotics club or something like that. And I'd really love an opportunity to be able to share this with the kids as well. And so it sounds
Yeah,
like,
we'd love that.
yeah, really
We'd love
anyone
it.
can sign up for this though, is what I'm hearing.
Anybody, yes. And it comes with video tutorials featuring none other than Jeff Blankenberg. So check it out. But all the materials you need to deliver this are there. And yes, you know, send it to your student's school. Teachers who sign up, they get free swag for their classroom and other supports.
Nice.
But also you can definitely do it at home too.
All right, so let's dig a little deeper on then as we think about what the teachers that are going and signing up for this, or whether you're sharing this with your own children or maybe other kids that you interact with in your community. What are the kinds of activities that you can expect to do when you're there?
For the hour of AI, yeah. So the first one, so we have one whole lesson that takes place for 1 hour, and so it comes with student worksheet, teacher facilitation guide, and really first we can even check some of them out if it's possible. We can actually watch some of those videos to learn the background of how Alexa works and how voice AI works. And then they'll actually log into the App Inventor platform. So I don't know if I'm able to share my screen, but I'm more than happy to do that later today.
Yeah. If you want to share your screen, we can definitely do that. And while you're setting that up, I have a amazing stall tactic built in. You put together
awesome.
You put together a great trailer about the hour of AI.
Yes.
And while you're sharing your screen, I'm going to show that to everybody now.
Awesome.
All right, we'll be right back in 30 seconds.
Artificial intelligence isn't coming.
It's already here.
Alexa is going to space to see how voice AI can improve future space travel.
But AI isn't just for astronauts. It's used by everyone.
Today, we challenge you to go from asking Alexa questions
to writing Alexa's code.
Join us as we uncover how voice AI works and learn to program our very own Alexa skills.
Head to AmazonFutureEngineer.com/Alexa to get coding.
And like that, we're back. Now, what I didn't see was your screen come through, or I would have shared it for you. But I think maybe we have an opportunity for Paul to demonstrate some things as well.
Awesome.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Awesome. I could pass to you, Paul. Let's see, teacher Paul, go for it.
Yeah, and feel free to jump in with anything you have. Jeff
Awesome.
can bring up my screen. I think Jeff is frozen here.
Oh, he is. Maybe. We've lost it.
There we go. So this is the MIT App Inventor screen, and what you can see is that we have a number of different lessons that you can do. There are some longer ones as well. The one that I'll kind of walk through today is the Hour of AI lesson. And so the way that you do this is we can just click on Go to Tutorial, and it starts the MIT App Inventor with Alexa sort of built in. And so what we can do is we also have the tutorial over here on the left-hand side, which makes it really easy to follow along. And so I'll just walk you through what this looks like as if you were the student walking this through it. So first thing all you do is we need to add the intent, right? So we'll just drag the intent onto the screen and we instantly get the intent that we have here. We can now rename our intent if we want to say hi intent. I'm going to try to zoom in a little bit to see this on the screen, but it'll mean I'll need to scroll around a little bit to see the whole screen, but maybe that's a little bit easier to see. So now we've added the say hi intent, and we can continue down to now program in our utterances. The utterances are here next to what we want to say, so we'll add the utterances that we have. So we'll add say hi to the moon. Tell the moon hey. And so we can add any number of utterances that you want to make it more aware of the different ways to say it. So greet the moon, make the moon say hi. So we can add those. The moon. Moon say hi. And then once we're done that, we now actually need to code our logic. And this is where the block programming of the app inventor platform comes in. So what we need to do is we'll come over here to blocks on the top right. We'll click on blocks. Now we're in the block editing mode. So the first thing I need to do is drag my intent onto the screen. And then what I want to do is come to the built-in voice blocks, and I want to say something. So when the say hi intent is spoken, I want to say something. And in this case, we want to just say a simple text box, right? So we want to say hello moon. So we'll just grow text. We'll drag this in, click it into place, and now
maybe do hello developers.
And so, yeah, so we're done here. So now we really have everything that we need to build our skill. We just need to sort of compile it and send the updates to Amazon. So we'll click on this. This stage takes a little bit of time. And what's happening is it's creating the accounts. It's uploading the manifest. It's building the voice model. It's creating the Lambda expressions, and it's getting everything ready such that we can talk about the skill.
Paul, did I miss it? Did you add the utterances? I may have missed it.
Yeah, I added a few of the utterances.
Cool. Oh, awesome. Cool.
And so we'll see. The other great thing about this is when you're doing this with students, they may not remember what utterances they added, or they may not remember what they did. And so the nice thing is that we'll see examples of those utterances once the tool is ready.
Screen share may make it slow.
Yep.
And this is for students age 14 plus, so it's perfect for high school. Oh, he's back.
Yeah, this is a bit of a scramble. I'm running through my cell phone on my other laptop, so different view, different internet connection. We'll see how it goes. I apologize for this.
Yeah, it must be the demo gremlins.
Always. Always. So what did I miss? It looks like you guys have done a fantastic demo so far.
Yeah, so we've created the intent. We've built it in. We've sent it up to Alexa. And now if we look at the bottom here, it tells us exactly what we need to do here. So we can just basically try one of these examples. So let's say, Alexa, tell Moon Talker to say hi to the moon. And then we see it happening here. And then we get our response for hello developers. So it's pretty exciting, right?
Yeah. Yeah, this
and
is
then
great.
Paul, you did have the audio also. We just couldn't hear it, I think, right?
Oh, yeah. It's probably just the way this is going through the browser. The audio didn't come through, but we do get the Alexa voice saying, hello developers.
So we had a great question come in from Michael Fetting in our audience. What age levels would you say that this is applicable to?
Age 14 plus, so perfect for high school.
Okay. So this is primarily high school age kids. That's great.
Yes.
And the next obvious question will be, hey, I have a 12-year-old. Are there any problems if that goes on? Is there any concerns, or like how does that generally thought of?
Paul, you want to take that one?
I know.
Yeah, right now we're just targeting 14 plus. Is the program for teachers that we're looking to create that experience for. Got it.
That's great.
And it can get more complicated too, worth noting. So right now you saw the simplest intent, but it does get more complicated where students use variables, slots, and all sorts of fun stuff in their voice skills.
Cool.
Yeah, so I'm going to show you sort of the next one. And if there are any more questions, we'll just show you kind of the extension to this one to keep going a little bit. So that was sort of the basic one. So now we want to do is another one. So we'll drag another intent onto our surface. And we have our second intent here. And this one, we're going to create a random fact. So we'll just rename this to fact intent. And then from here, we want to add our utterances. So
Can we do facts about Alexa? Or facts about Jeff? What's allowed? Or facts about space is what we usually do.
So tell me something about space. What other one? Tell me a fact about space. Tell me a fact about space. Tell me some space trivia. Once we have our utterances, we can now go to our coding step. And so in this case, the coding step is a little bit more complicated because we want to do a random fact. So, and I apologize for scrolling around, but I want you all to be able to see this. So here is our previous one that we had done earlier. We want to do another one, so we want to add our tell fact intent. So we'll just add this one onto the design surface as well. And we want to do something again. So we want it to say something when a fact is spoken. One of the things we need, though, is we need a list of facts, right? So we want to create a variable. And we'll have this initialized, call it space fact. So now we have a variable for space fact that we can use, and we want to create a list. So we'll come over to lists and we'll make a list. So now we have these items on the list, and we can see that there are 2. So let's just add a couple more items to our list that we can connect to. And so now we have a list of 4 items. So let's also now add some text. So we scroll down to show you what step we're on here. So we're going to add some text. And so we'll just do some string text onto here. And now we can add some facts. The sun is a star. Earth is a planet. Pluto is not a planet.
Aliens are real.
We live in the Milky Way galaxy. So now we have some facts, and now so all we need to do is connect these to this. So what we want to do here is we want to have it pick a random item. So we'll come to lists and we'll say pick a random item from the list, and then the list that we want to connect to will be our get our space fact list. And so now we should be wired up here correctly. So what you can see the code is showing us is that when the fact intent is spoken, say picking something from the random list, and the random list is this list of variables that we entered. So we'll just talk amongst yourselves while we send this up to Amazon.
It's always that pesky deployment that gets you. So, Paul, while we're waiting for this, someone had mentioned that this looks a lot like MIT's Scratch. Can we talk a little bit about the partnership with MIT and what this is based on?
Yeah, I could talk a little bit about that. So MIT, we originally found the work that they were doing with Alexa. It was actually an amazing student's PhD project, which she was really passionate about trying to broaden access to artificial intelligence education. And so we began kind of learning from them about what they were doing. And as you know, Scratch is also run by MIT. Both of these are run out of the Media Lab there. And so over the past 2 years, we've partnered with them to figure out, what would it look like to take this and be able to bring it to schools everywhere. And one of the biggest barriers was the need to, not require students to create a developer account. And so I can pass it to Paul, who can get more into the technical background, but we really wanted to just make it seamless. So students who code on MIT App Inventor every day, that it's using block code that they're used to, like Scratch, like App Inventor uses, and that they didn't have to have lots of accounts. So it's been fun to see. But Paul, I don't know if you want to talk a little bit more about what's happened in the background there or not.
Yeah, and thanks, Tyler. So we're updated. We've sent everything. So let's just give this a little quick test here. So we can either send text if you want to text, or you can click on the microphone again. So Alexa, tell Moontalker to tell me something about space. So there we go. Let's try it again. Alexa, tell Moontalker to tell me a fact about space. And of course, that's the one that comes up. So yeah, I mean, Hyla's right. Like the MIT App Inventor is built on this block Scratch-like language technology where students can just connect the blocks together. And it's really great to see them light up when they see this, because they can instantly make connections between intents and utterances and slot values, and these more complex kind of concepts become instantly understandable because all that sort of code goo gets out of the way, and they can just plug these things together and see instant results. And it is amazing to watch the students. Like I mean, as a lot of people probably on this call are very experienced in doing this, but for students that seeing this for the first time, it's amazing.
It is. I remember the first time I got to sit down with my kids and use Scratch. They were like, "Yeah, Dad, I just do this," and then I'm like, they're like creating if statements and for loops and like all this stuff, and like my mind was blown because they found a way to simplify the way for kids to be able to write code without knowing all the syntax and all the typing and everything. This is so much more accessible, I think, for people that are trying to figure out what code structures look like and what the logic plays out like. So it's wonderful.
Yeah, we've seen students who have never been taught computer science at all. Within 30 minutes, they've coded their own skill. So it's been pretty incredible to see.
That is
and
great.
They love to personalize it. I'll tell you that.
All right, so let me scroll back through. I've lost some of the comments. I know we have a ton of fantastic people here, and I normally do a little greeting and welcome people as they say hi or whatever in the chat. But thanks to me losing my internet connection, I lost some of those. So hello to everyone. Thank you guys for being here. And just as a reminder, this is an episode of Office Hours. And so in addition to having awesome guests like we have with Paul and Hyla, we also answer your questions about Alexa, skill development, and whatever else is going on. And so if you have any questions for me or for the team here, I'd be more than happy to try to answer those as we go through this. So Michael had asked about what age levels this is applicable to, but I saw another question earlier, which I think I've lost track of, which was, does this allow any kind of multimodal interface also, or is this a voice-only development environment?
Yeah, right now this is voice only. We don't do any type of display or PLA output or anything.
Cool. Well, that's a good, straightforward answer. I like that. Thank you. Let's see if there's anything else that stands out to me. Dana Voice says, hello, Brian Tarbox is here. Welcome, everybody. Yeah, I don't see a ton of questions from today, which is good. But I think it's probably honestly because everybody is calling their students teachers right now and saying, hey, you've got to get a hold of this. You've got to show my kids how to do the hour of AI. This is great.
Yeah, as Hyla was saying earlier, it's really great because teachers with minimal effort, the friction is reduced so much for them to get started and create these random accounts for their students, and to be able to jump right in, and students to just follow along with the tutorial that we've built into the margins that you've seen. And so teachers could even go beyond and create their own tutorials and their own extensions and really do make this whatever they want to. But everything's in place for them to do that and to expand upon this program.
Very cool. So you said you've already rolled this out to some teachers, right? What has the feedback been from both teachers and students?
So far, it's been pretty phenomenal. Students absolutely loved it. I think they really cannot believe that they can program Alexa to say what they want and do it with block code. I think the biggest questions we get are, I want to take this home and show my parents. How can I? So we make sure that they're able to show off this platform back at home. But yeah, response has been amazing. I think right now we've got over 1,000 teachers registered to bring this to their classrooms for CS Education Week. And we hope to have even more give it a shot.
Wow, that's fantastic. 1,000 teachers already.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
And we have existing content as well for students under 14 that can learn about voice AI without using the tool, because the tool's for 14 plus. But it's a great learning lesson plan, if you will. It has all the curriculum. It has Kahoots in there for them to do. It teaches them about what is AI, what are intents, like what is voice, how does it all kind of work. And so if you have middle school students that want to participate and understand how all this works, it's a great lesson on how to kind of get your head around voice AI.
One thing to note that our team really cares about is we want to see that activities like this change students' interest in pursuing computing and tech careers in the future. And so in our demo lessons with students, one of the most compelling compelling stats we've seen is that we've seen before the lesson, about 55% of students that have interacted with this stated that they were not interested in pursuing computer science education or robotics or AI at all. And then after just 1 hour of doing this, that number actually went down to 0% were not interested and 100% were strongly or interested or strongly interested. So for us, we see that this could be a huge game changer for students who have never even considered that computer science is a pathway. But really seeing Alexa interact with what you code, that this can impact the real world and impact your world, and understanding that can just truly change the game for who might be with us engineering in the future.
Agreed. I've got a couple of good questions that have just come in. I think we talked about this briefly, but it's good to always give a solid, straightforward answer on this. Dana Voice on Twitch wants to know if I can just lie and say I'm a teacher, or am I not allowed to create a user ID if I'm just an independent person that wants to use this? I'll let you guys answer it. I know the answer. We've talked about it a little bit, but go ahead and kind of spell that out for Dana.
You or me, Paul?
Go ahead.
I think we'd recommend that you sign up as a parent. When you go to that portal, you can just click parent. And that would probably be the best, because otherwise we'd have to ask you for your school name and registration. So definitely sign up, go for it. Can't wait to see what you think.
But sign up as a parent. That's good guidance. Someone else on LinkedIn, their name didn't come through, says, can we demo the skills that students build on a real device, or can they only use the web UI?
Yeah, so the teacher has an option to connect their skills to their Amazon account. It's something that we only enable for the teacher at this time. And Paul can actually show you how the teacher does that, but that is possible for a teacher.
Okay, that's exciting, because then if they have a device in their classroom, kids can talk to a device and really hear their skills. That's pretty exciting. All right, and then Fangam wants to know, this is for those that want to take their skills home to show their parents, is there a way to tell them about trying Alexa blueprints or some of the other low-code, no-code solutions we offer?
Yeah, I think definitely, once you kind of get excited about the platform, in App Inventor, there's no real way for you today to kind of export your project and then import it into your dev console. It's definitely something that, we've thought about and are looking at, but it's not something you can do today. But once you are excited and kind of understand, what are intents, what are utterances, what are slots, there are a lot of great tools like the Blueprints tool, which is amazing for, creating simple skills and following templates and gives you that low code kind of no code experience. I think that's a great stepping stone as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so definitely we encourage all of those kind of exploration of those tools.
Cool. All right, I have a question unrelated to the two of you, so you get a reprise here for just a minute. But Brian Tarbox asked about the invite to beta, and he says it seems to be broken, and he's hoping it gets fixed soon. Brian, I'd love to know what you mean by it being broken. I've had people reach out to me previously about the beta tool that we have being broken, and what they mean is that some of the people that they invite never receive an email. This is an unfortunate artifact of being a company the size that we are. Because the beta tool is actually Amazon sending an email on your behalf to a bunch of developers that you've provided email addresses for. And so even if this isn't the problem, though I'd love for you to clarify, what we found is that if someone has at Amazon.com gone in and said, I don't want any more email from Amazon, right? This includes promotional mail and things like Black Friday sales and all the other stuff that you might get. If they've gone in and opted out about those things, then they are technically also opting out of our beta testing tool. And so you'll see in the tool that there's ways to provide a link. So you could just send them a link to the thing directly. And that's a way kind of around that mailing glitch that you might run into. But that's just a good thing for everybody to know. That using the copy link option, as Tapster just said, is the right way to go. But Brian is clarifying and saying people get the beta invite link, but when they click on it, nothing happens. And others have seen this as well. So I'm going to take that as some feedback. We'll throw that into the our team here behind the scenes, the developer advocacy group, might be able to take a look at that too and see if there are any existing issues or if we have awareness about an existing problem. But this isn't something that I've heard about before, where they have the link, but they're not able to do anything with it. So we'll take a peek and see what we can come up with. All right.
I won't demo it today, but I'm just showing someone mentioned the blueprints. And so if people didn't know what they were referring to, this is the tool. There's a number of templates that are in here that allow you to kind of quickly, more of a dialogue-based creation flow. So different than what we're doing with App Inventor, but another great tool as well for getting kids excited.
Yeah, one of my favorites. So I give presentations to kids on a somewhat regular basis. So whether it's an elementary school or kids at a conference or whatever it might be, and I use blueprints quite frequently, and especially the custom Q&A. For any of you that are thinking about just a way to mess with other people in your household, custom Q&A is absolutely the winner. You can type in questions that you want to be able to ask Alexa in the future, and then you also provide the answers. And so I have one in our house where I can say, who's the coolest? She's like, it's always Jeff, right? Like she, rules out anybody else in my family and clarifies that I am in fact the coolest one. And we have things like who smells bad? It's always the dog. But like, there's always things like that you can ask, because you don't ask a skill in that case. You are asking Alexa a question, and she happens to know the answer to that question because you wrote it previously. So custom Q&A is a really fun one to play with, but there's lots of cool stuff in there. All right. So as I look at the list of questions, it looks like we had a long one coming here that I haven't read yet. Came from Jalwork. I'm having a problem using the Ask CLI with Ask Init or Ask New. It's worked in the past, and I get a request for a username and password for Git. What username and password is it asking for? Ask New creates the skill, but you can clone it and have a ticket. And I have a ticket ending 59101. Can you chase them up? Yeah, Jalwork, like I said, the DAG team is here behind the scenes. And so I'll have them try to track down your ticket. I don't know if those last 5 digits are enough for them to find it, but we will see what we can do. Worst case, if you want to send me that full ticket number in Slack, I can try and get that to them as well. But I feel like if you type Ask New, the first thing it should do is say, okay, what do you want to call your skill? And then what template do you want to use? And I'm assuming because it's asking about Git, it's probably asking about, you're probably choosing an Alexa hosted skill. But beyond that, I don't have a good answer for why you're getting that behavior. I don't remember a time where it asks me for a get username and password. So we'll have to dig into that a little bit. All right, let's see. Oh, interesting. David Curley is providing some feedback. I'm reading this aloud, but I have not verified this or specifically. What is the word I'm looking for? Specifically provided my. I'm not verifying that this is true or false, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So David says, I now always send a QR code instead of the link. This is for the beta program. Because if they click the link on a laptop, it's broken. And it's because Amazon end of life the web app. It needs to be opened on a phone, which will launch the mobile app. And then the right things happen. On a computer, the web app does open, but no longer supports skills at all. Interesting, David. I know that they said they deprecated. If you go to alexa.amazon.com, this is what he's referring to. I'm just taking a look here. So it does still seem to be there, but it also does recommend that you go to the Alexa app. But I thought that the beta links would still work. That surprises me if they just remove that. Okay, so David Curley, thank you for that feedback. We'll have to take a look at that one as well. All right, so we have all sorts of time. Paul, are there other things as we think about what's going on inside this new tool that we've created? Are there other things beyond the simple skill, the simple fact skill? Does it give the ability to do more complex interactions?
Yeah, I mean, for sure, you can create lots of intents and create your utterances and do your slots. And if you're, really good with block programming, you can do lots of, you're kind of unbounded by whatever the block language can do for you.
Cool.
So that's one thing. Another thing is that we have 3 curriculum providers, if you will, that are providing content for us. And maybe Hyla can talk about those a little bit more. But, the Project STEM, the Hour of AI, is what I just kind of ran through. It's like, can you get students through in like 45 minutes or an hour, right? But the other 2 are more extensive. And these are the ones that may be interesting if you want to really dig deep.
Yeah, great. There's 2 other partners. Mobile CSP for Computer Science Principles is an organization out of the National Center for Computer Science. And they have a curriculum that many teachers use when they teach Computer Science Principles, the AP course. And so they have actually built this experience into that course and have developed a 4-hour lesson where students build they build a feature to help with future space travel. So it goes a lot more in depth. Students use slots, variables, lots of good stuff. And then the second one is with the National Science Teacher Association, where we wanted to know, like, what would it look like to bring this experience outside of computer science classes and into a high school science class. So in that lesson, the NSTA, National Science Teacher Association, developed a 5-hour learning experience for students. So it would take about a week for a classroom to complete, where they develop skills to help monitor an astronaut's health with a big emphasis around homeostasis. So it's all about how could Alexa actually help astronauts keep track of their body's metrics while flying around the moon.
So cool. Oh, this is throwing me off my game today with the internet completely going out. I just verified that, in fact, all of Ohio's internet is out. That's really fantastic.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Whole state, at least for the service that I use. I don't know if it's for everybody, but something is definitely broken. And thankfully, it's not my system. Like, I just replaced a whole bunch of networking stuff in my house, and I was worried that maybe I had something fail, but no, it's in fact the entire internet. Okay, Joltwork, just as a reference, the DAG team has reached out to you. If you can provide them with your entire ticket ID, they'd be happy to track that down for you. All right, so what's next? Do we have big plans on thinking about what we think we might do in the future related to some of these programs? I mean, the program is called Future Engineers. I didn't know if we had a vision of what the big next steps might be.
You or me, Paul?
Yeah, I mean, I could just briefly just say some things and then excuse me. We definitely try to onboard more teachers and more students. We'll be gathering, the feedback from everybody and all the students, and take a look at what people like, what they don't like, and try to next year come up with another version that can solve some of the problems and some of the things that students want to do and teachers want to teach about, and make that and keep expanding the program.
Cool. That sounds like a big win, right? I mean, the more we can get this kind of technology into kids' hands, the more, not just that they're going to use these tools and build something simple, but the more like they're going to be, at least this is my hope, right? Is that they're going to be frustrated by the limitations that they're presented with. Like, I have this cool idea and I want to do this awesome thing. And like, I see my Echo is able to do some of these things, but I can't do this myself using these tools. How can I grow? How can I be bigger, better, more? And I look back at my own growth as a developer. I was in college when the internet really started to take off in the mid 90s. And I was able to build a very simple website using some very simple tools. But as I looked around at the internet, I said, everybody's doing stuff that's so much cooler than what I can do. How do I do that? Right. And so what really got me interested in web development and led to a lot of my career was that I started going into the browser and I'd view the source and I'd see how people had built their stuff. And my hope with a program like this is that kids start to realize, hey, I want to do more than what is capable here. And they start digging into places like GitHub and Stack Overflow and a lot of our tutorials and templates to figure out how to code these things on their own. I think that would be a huge victory for everybody.
Yeah, and I think what's really amazing for kids, I guess, in the TikTok generation is that instant gratification, right? They can quickly see how I had this idea that we brainstormed just a few minutes ago, and now this thing is talking to me and answering my questions, right? And so like that rapid turnaround or that rapid moment for them to kind of understand really clicks for them, and they think, oh, I can do these things and these things are possible.
Yeah, and there's a lot of kind of big ideas that were swirling around. But to that point, Paul, students right after they did this and one of our demo lessons, someone said, like, how could we program it to do certain jokes that I wanted to do? Another student said, how could I actually control lights in my house using this? And there might be ways, and there's certain ideas we're exploring for an education where what would it look like or something like this to connect to a physical computing device that students could really see the power and really understand more full of what ambient computing is all about. So I think there's lots of ways we hope to expand this in the future. Could be students diving really deep into a full course, could get physical. But to Paul's point, I think now we're just trying to prove that the appetite is out there and that it's an awesome learning experience. For kids.
I don't think you have anything to worry about there. I think that we're going to be very surprised by the number of teachers that are getting involved in this, because it's still a new cool concept. I think a lot of people have a device in their house. They got one for Christmas or they bought one because they thought it was cool, and they ask it for music and weather and jokes and stuff like that, but haven't even considered that they could like build their own stuff to run on it. And I think that once you start to unpack that, kids are going to come running home from school and say, Mom, I want to try this. I want to build this thing. And they showed me blueprints in this. And like, I see that excitement when I talk to kids. So I have to imagine that a program like this at all the schools really will have a pretty big impact. All right. I'm going to ask you another question. I don't know if you guys have answers prepared for this, but I'd love to ask the question anyway. As we start getting parents and teachers involved in this, is there any kind of support available, especially for teachers, as they continue into this program? If they get stuck, if they need help understanding or explaining this stuff to kids?
Yes, I can take that one. So for each of our nonprofit education providers, they are all offering training directly to teachers. So any teachers who is interested, they have an option to attend free webinars to learn how to use the platform, how to navigate the lesson materials, and all that fun stuff. And if someone gets stuck for any of those teachers, they can reach out to our partners or directly to us for help. But our hope is that we've made things as user-friendly as we can, and with enough tutorials that we don't get too overloaded, but definitely just thinking ahead with providing as much training as possible.
Perfect. I mean, ideally, you want this to be self-service, right? We don't want tons and tons of phone calls because it's not easy to understand or because it's not easy to use. And based on my limited experience with this tool so far, I feel like you really the block coding, the partnership with MIT, I think all of this really goes a long way in making it easy for people to understand and use. We talked about this a little bit. Someone asked a question earlier about the idea that could kids take their code home or could they run it on other devices? And I know that that's not possible today. But is there a published pathway for kids? Like, okay, cool, you did this awesome stuff with App Inventor and you've gotten your first skill built and you're really excited about it. Do we have like the next steps guide for students?
Do you mean next steps as in how do I learn more or how do I connect to my device?
Let's say I want to get to a point where I or my parents have a developer account and I can go create my own real skills, or maybe it's just a stepping stone to blueprints or then to skills. I didn't know if we had any like, here's what you should do next kind of programs or what we recommend to people beyond this.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great question. We haven't built out a full, like, here's how you can go further your learning. So I think there's definitely ways, areas of opportunity for us to connect to blueprints would be awesome. And we could do some really cool experimentation with that in the future. The biggest kind of hurdle I think the biggest focus we have is really making sure that students stay on the App Inventor platform when they're coding that. And if they want to bring it home, to really work with their parent. And so the parent could create an account, the parent can create a developer account. But the hardest thing is kind of been that 18-year-old and up developer account requirement, right?
Yeah, agreed.
So it's just got to go through the parent.
Yeah, parents would definitely have to set these accounts up for their kids.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, I have another unrelated to Hour of AI question. Dana Boy said, I just started to do local debugging, and when I try to do an ask deploy, I'm told I need to use the git commands. Any thoughts on why this is based on my environment or question mark? So Dana, my experience is that the commands that you use when you use an Alexa hosted skill are not the ask deploy model. What you're doing instead is you're committing to a GitHub repository, or not GitHub, but a Git repository. And then your code from that Git repository is deployed into the appropriate Alexa hosted resources, whether that's your Lambda function or whatever it might be. So when you're using Alexa hosted, you will be using Git commands. When you're using traditional Lambda development, so you have your own AWS account and on, that's when you use terms like ask deploy. And so I think you should be able to find that if you go look at the ask deploy set of commands. All of that should be covered there in our technical documentation. I don't have that page available to me right off my hands, but I'm confident that that information's there. All of the different Git commands you use, but it's basically just a Git commit is what you're using to push your code up. So hopefully that clarifies a little bit for you, Dana. All right, we only have a few minutes left. I know that you and I have gotten to know each other as a part of this Future Engineers program, and certainly as part of the video we put together for Hour of AI. And Paul, you and I have been working together. It seems like years now, but I know you're still relatively new to the team. When did you start here?
Maybe 3 months ago.
Has it only been 3 months? My goodness. Well, you've made a tremendous amount of progress, and the fact that you're already demoing some awesome tools like this
awesome.
is great. I'm so glad that you're here. Is there anything else that the two of you want to share about the Hour of AI or any of these programs that we've talked about before we sign off?
I think if you are reaching out to your schools to share the Hour of AI, your student's school, please share just general awareness about Amazon Future Engineer. We work with about 5,000 schools around the country. We're in 6 different spots globally. But really, our goal is to bring free computer science education to students everywhere. Still around the U.S., only about 53% of high schools even offer it. So we have a lot of work to do, and I can't imagine a better advocate for computer science education than the folks on this call. So please share the word. Everything's on our website, and everything is free for schools.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is really just the beginning, right? This is just us experimenting with maybe the art of the possible and trying to understand, what's resonating, what works, what doesn't, what do students like, what's going to get them to really, think about their future and how science and AI can be part of that future to a lot of students that's just not part of their daily life, right? They don't see themselves in those roles. And so as much as this kind of program can inspire those kids to think about this is really just an amazing thing.
Yeah. And I think this is one of those things that's overlooked, but by the time the kids that we're talking about, high schoolers today, or even as we start to think about what elementary school kids are learning, the next generation of kids coming out of school, it's almost expected you have some kind of computer fluency, right? Every job, regardless of what the main task of your job is, also in some way requires you to be able to communicate effectively with computers. It might be something simple, like writing simple algorithms in an Excel file, but it could also be just generating reports or writing SQL against the database or anything like that, where you would never call yourself a programmer, but you have to be able to program some things. You have to be able to write in a language that a computer will understand. And it's programs like this that I think make a big fundamental change in how we think about this. Highlight that number you said, 53%. I mean, that is remarkably low in a country that has so much technology available to it. And my data is a couple years old now, but the last time I thought about this, there was something like 1 million tech jobs that are going to go unfilled in our country over the next decade because there just aren't enough qualified people to do them. And it just blows my mind that we don't have people just doubling and tripling down on thinking about how they can best be tech literate.
Totally agree. And the stats get even a little more wild where, yes, 53% of schools offer a course, high schools. But then if you look into how many people are in that course, the number comes down to about 4.7% of students in high school are taking a CS course. So we've got a lot of work to do. And we hope that this program is the initial spark to have schools launch into a lot more learning.
I hope so too. All right. Well, it appears that our questions have more or less dried. I think that I've gotten as many amazing things out of the two of you as I possibly can. And so I think it's okay if we wrap up just a couple of minutes early. But I do want to take a moment and thank both of you. Hyla, it's been quite a journey. We've been on with all of this stuff. And I'm so glad that we've had an opportunity to connect. And Paul, thank you so much for being here to share the demo and make sure we all understand exactly how this tool works, because I think that was an amazing way to see how these pieces fit together.
Great. Thanks, Jeff.
Awesome.
Thanks, Jeff.
I want to thank everybody. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. We will be here again next week, and with that, we'll say goodbye to everybody. So hopefully, I'll have my internet figured out by next Tuesday. Right.
It's wild.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much.
Bye.